Hey, welcome. You know how people throw around terms like information security, IT security, and cybersecurity like they're all the same thing? It gets super confusing, right? Well, today we're going to untangle that whole mess once and for all. So let's just dive right in. But before we get into definitions, let me ask you something. What do you think is harder to stop? Someone physically picking the lock on a filing cabinet, or a hacker breaking into a digital server from halfway around the world? The challenges of protecting pure information, just ones and zeros, are totally unique, and that's exactly why we need to be clear on what we're talking about. So here's the key. These terms aren't just interchangeable words. They're actually part of a family, a kind of hierarchy. Think of it like Russian nesting dolls, where each one fits neatly inside the next. We're about to lay out this whole family tree for you. Okay, so at the very top, the biggest doll in the set is information security. You'll hear people call it InfoSec for short. This is the giant umbrella that covers everything. And the most important thing to get here is that InfoSec is about protecting information in any form. It could be a file on your computer, sure, but it could also be a piece of paper in a locked drawer. It's the whole concept of keeping information safe, period. Now let's go one layer deeper. Tucked right inside of InfoSec is IT security. And this is where things get more specific. We're not worrying about paper anymore. IT security is totally focused on protecting the actual digital infrastructure. We're talking the hardware, the software, the computer networks, all the tech that holds and moves our digital information. And that brings us to the one you probably hear about every single day, cybersecurity. This is our smallest, most specialized nesting doll. It's a piece of IT security that deals only with protecting systems connected to the internet. So this is the frontline defense against all the stuff you see in the news. Hackers, malware, phishing scams, any threat that comes at you from the great big online world. And boom, here it is, all laid out. This visual just makes it click, doesn't it? You've got the huge category of information security at the top. Inside that, you have IT security for the tech systems, and then at the very core, you've got cybersecurity, which is the fight against online attacks. See how it all fits? It's not that one is better than the other, it's all about the scope of what you're protecting. Okay, so now that we've sorted out what we're protecting, let's talk about how. Turns out, all these layers of security, they're all built on the same three basic ideas. It's a famous framework called the CIA Triad. And no, not that CIA. This one's probably way more important to your day-to-day digital life. So, at the absolute core of keeping information safe, there are really just three main goals. Seriously, every single security tool out there, from a firewall to a simple password, is trying to achieve at least one of these three things. They're the building blocks for what it means to be secure. First up, we've got confidentiality. This is the one we all think of first, right? It's basically about privacy, keeping secrets. The whole point is to make sure that only the right people can access the information. It's like a sealed envelope in the real world. In the digital world, it's what makes sure that your private DMs are actually, private. That's confidentiality. Next is integrity. This one is all about trust. It's about making sure your data is accurate and hasn't been messed with by someone who shouldn't have. For instance, you need to have faith that the number you see in your bank account balance is the real number, and that a hacker can't just go in and add a few zeros. That's data integrity, making sure the information is trustworthy. And the third pillar of the triad is availability. This one sounds simple, but it is absolutely critical. I mean, your data is useless if you can't get to it, right? Availability is all about making sure that you, a legitimate user, can access your information whenever you need it. When a website goes down because of an attack, or when ransomware locks up your files, that's a direct assault on availability. So the CIA Triad gives us our mission. But to actually pull it off, we need a few more tools in our toolbox. Let's look at a couple of the practical ideas that make confidentiality, integrity, and availability actually happen in the real world. Okay, this is a big one. People mix these two up all the time, authentication and authorization. Let's break it down. Think of it like going to a concert. Authentication is you showing your ticket at the gate. It's you proving you are who you say you are. Your password, your face scan, that's authentication. But once you're inside, your ticket might say general admission or backstage pass. That's authorization. It determines where you're allowed to go. So one is about who you are, the other is about what you can do. And to back all that up, we have two more really important concepts. First, accountability. This just means we can trace any action back to a specific person. It's the digital trail of breadcrumbs that's so crucial for figuring out what happened after a security incident. Then you have non-repudiation. It sounds complicated, but it just means you have absolute proof someone did something, like a digital signature on a contract. You can't turn around later and say, nope, wasn't me. All right, we've covered a ton of ground here, from these big, broad ideas down to the nitty-gritty principles. So let's wrap this up and talk about why understanding all of this is so fundamental to, well, just living in our digital world today. So if you remember anything, remember this. These terms aren't random. They fit into that clear hierarchy. And everything is built on that CIA Triad. Confidentiality, integrity, and availability aren't just textbook words. They are the active forces protecting your emails, your photos, and your bank account every single day. So knowing this framework is a huge first step. But it also leads to a pretty challenging question, right? We've built our entire digital world on these rules. But what happens when the threats, powered by things like AI, get so advanced that they don't just break the rules, they change the entire game? That's something to think about.